Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is John Huth with Hamilton County Planning and Development. I assume everyone can hear me okay.
We can, but
We do have a few people on the call this evening. Linda, it looks like you're having some difficulty getting video.
yes.
You don't necessarily need video unless you're presenting something this evening. We would, however, like you to be muted if you could until you have something to say, only because whenever you speak or there's any background noise, and that's what everybody hears instead of.
It doesn't seem to want to mute either.
Yeah, I don't have the ability to mute you. Oh, now you're muted. Well, I'm going to give people just another minute to log on. I know sometimes people can have a little bit of difficulties getting on to a Zoom call. So I'll start in about 30 seconds to a minute, just to give people a chance. And I assume everyone can see the screen also, which is the front page of a PowerPoint presentation. And I assume that Keith McCluskey, or at least the device listed as Keith McCluskey, would be the applicant for this project.
Yes, John, that's me.
Great. Is there anyone else that will be speaking on behalf of the applicant?
Randy Merrill, John from McGill Smith Puncheon, if needed, is sitting in my office with me to answer any questions that might come up.
Okay, great. And I see Jana Grant from Symmes Township. Is it Gina or Jana? I'm sorry. I don't know.
Jana.
How are you this evening?
Jana.
Jana? Great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hello again, everyone. My name is John Huth. I work for Hamilton County Planning and Development. We administer the zoning for Symmes Township. My role tonight would be to facilitate the discussion, take notes on any of the issues that may come up during this meeting. This is the first meeting of a potential zone change in Symmes Township. We call this our public staff review conference. It's a little bit more, or a lot more informal than the upcoming meetings in front of the Regional Planning Commission, in front of the Symmes Township Zoning Commission, and also in front of the Symmes Township Board of Trustees. So it's a really great opportunity for anyone who has questions about the development to ask, to voice their concerns, opinions. It also gives the developer or applicant an opportunity to answer them, modify the plans if they so choose to do so. So really that's the main reason for the meeting. I stated this early, or in case you didn't hear me, we would like for everyone to remain on mute until called upon. If you're familiar with how Zoom works, it picks up a lot of background noise in case you're not muted. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of people on the call this evening, so I doubt we'll have to limit people's time. However, I've done several of these meetings in other parts of the township, and I would just advise that everyone limit their comments to things that haven't already been said. If you agree with someone, obviously you can state that, but we don't need to hear the same thing, I think, over and over again. So let me begin with the location of this site. Hopefully it shows up good enough on the screen. It's outlined in red. It's the old J.C. Penney building and retail strip center. These yellow lines represent zoning. So everything in this area is zoned double E. And then this small piece of the property is zoned double O office. The double O office does not allow what the applicant wants to do, which I believe is automotive sales. So that's the reason for the zone change, to get the entire piece of property, or two properties, there might be two properties involved, get them both changed to double E to allow automotive sales. This would also be a modification to the final development plan for this property since the use will be changing significantly. Everyone within 200 feet should have been notified of this zone change. If for some reason you were not and you still are on this call, you found out other ways, I left my phone number up there. You can call me after this meeting. We'll get you on the mailing list for future notifications. I'll work with Symmes Township on that. I'm not really sure who does the notifications for the township, or we'll work through that together. Again, as I stated, this is just the very beginning of a potential zone change process. Mr. McCluskey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe you actually submitted yet for a zone change. Is that correct?
That's correct, John. We're going to do that this week.
Yep.
Okay. So if I looked at the dates correctly, I believe your deadline is May the 10th. And what that does is put you on the following schedule. So if you apply before May the 10th, the first meeting is in front of the Regional Planning Commission. That will be on June 3rd. And staff, probably myself, or Brian Snyder, who's the zoning administrator for Symmes Township, would write a staff report with findings of fact. They'll look at surrounding land uses, all sorts of issues, and they'll prepare that for the June 3rd meeting in front of the Regional Planning Commission. The Regional Planning Commission will make a recommendation to the Symmes Township Zoning Commission, and that would be on June the 16th. And then after that, the Symmes Township trustees, who have the final say on zone changes in Symmes Township. I'm not sure when their meeting would be. I don't know if it's scheduled yet, but it'll probably be in early and mid-July, maybe even late July. So if this plan is approved, just as a side note, the plan must be followed. Any deviation from that plan would force the applicant to go back through a zoning process. So what I've done is put up a site plan that was submitted by the applicant to us so everyone can see. And I'd like to turn it over now to the applicant to go over the proposal, and then we'll open it up for questions and discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Can everybody hear me okay? So we do have color renderings if we feel like that could help those in attendance better visualize, what we plan on doing on this 16-acre parcel. But as everyone probably is aware, JCPenney filed for bankruptcy. So that big box retailer is now an abandoned building. And Greg Malone from Casto reached out to me to see if there would be a level of interest to convert this to a McCluskey Chevrolet automotive destination. And we've been working hard on it for probably the better part of 4 or 5 months, thinking through the renderings and the investment that it would take, et cetera. And, are happy to and proud to present to everyone on the call what we hope everyone sees, as a big positive for the area. It's a significant investment, many millions of dollars, obviously, to, convert this into something that would be approved by General Motors and approved by Chevrolet. It's not just what Keith or our management team might want to do there. This will be very much like a first-class Kenwood Town Center, Apple Store, all new asphalting, a lot of additional landscaping, trees, flowers, proper lighting. If anybody would want to see our finished efforts and the pride we put into our facilities, certainly a testimony would be going back into the Kings Auto Mall to McCluskey Chevrolet, which we did about 10 years ago. And you can see our commitment to the landscaping and all of the things that, make us, the largest Chevrolet dealership in the country for Chevrolet. And we're very proud of that. And we're proud of the guests that we take care of. A simple thought is that of the 16 dealerships back here, we're the only one that irrigates our landscaping out front and does not ever park a car out in front near the Kings Auto Mall Road. And you can see that when you pull back in there. And we wanted a similar approach, obviously, to this project, up to and including, I believe, approximately 2,000 lineal feet of very nice brand new sidewalk all along Fields Erdel, all along Union Cemetery, and then all along Montgomery Road, because we think that that looks beautiful. It kind of, creates more of a exercise type walking environment for people in the neighborhood and also our team members, which is what we call our employees. And ultimately, we see the facility, as you can see on the slide that John put up here, the site plan. There's a building that runs relatively parallel to the front of the existing JCPenney building, and that would be our service center. So just to go a little bit further down a little further, that's right there. That building is not there as we sit here today. Now the strip center that is disconnected from the JCPenney kind of wraps around on 3 legs and goes over almost all the way to Union Cemetery Road. We looked hard at trying to save that building and be able to put garage doors in. Just at the end of the day, felt that an all-new building with more of a, let's call it, business office look from Montgomery Road and from Union Cemetery Road, i.e. the vehicles are inside the building being worked on versus various penetrations into an existing building with a lot of garage doors added. So I do have some color renderings at the street level from all 3 sides of the property that I don't have to show if we don't feel like that's important at this point. If we feel like that would add some flavor and color to the presentation tonight, I'm happy to share my desktop screen, John, and show those pictures or renderings that McGill Smith Punchin did.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea if you want to give that a try to give people an idea of what the building would look like.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody see that okay?
I don't see it.
I have to hit that blue share.
Oh, now we do.
So I've got 5 color renderings here. This would actually be at our parking lot level from the Montgomery Road side. So, what we all look at in the neighborhood currently is the back cinder block fascia of the 16 strip center shops. So not very attractive, not obviously the commitment to the finishes and the look of what we would have along Montgomery Road. This is actually a balcony off the 2nd floor just to kind of let our team members or guests get some fresh air in a kind of rooftop type environment. So I'm going to close this one if there's no questions. By the way, one of the things we think we maybe bring to the area is we have always been saddled with a service department that hasn't been big enough for us to really reach out to the public and assist them with tires and brakes and oil changes and cosmetic details, etc. We sell a lot of vehicles, and our limited size and our existing service department within the Kings Auto Mall has us somewhat limited to just taking care of our guest that bought a newer used vehicle from us. Assuming we're successful with this project and the zoning, this would be, kind of the icing on the cake, let's say, with a lot of additional bays that would allow us to reach out to people. And we, as a Chevrolet franchise, are empowered with what you see there, guaranteed lowest prices on tires, brakes, oil changes, and air filters. So the reason GM does that is they want people that visit our dealership to have a great experience, visit the free Starbucks cafe, go into our business centers, go into our relaxation rooms with the massage chairs, play pool on the pool table. I mean, all kinds of fun amenities that you'd see at the King's Automall if you came in. They're going to be here at this Symmes Township destination also. But then they don't want people to feel like they're paying a premium to be at a franchise dealership. So if someone found a set of tires on TireRack.com, as an example, on the internet for $60 a tire less than our normal price would be, all we have to do is submit a claim to Chevrolet. They reimburse us the difference, and we immediately lower our price to less than the TireRack.com price. So we're not just doing that if someone calls us on it. We want to make it part of the building, part of the experience that, you not only get a great quick in, quick out experience, but you get a free 27-point inspection, you get a free car wash inside and out, and you're basically committed to, or we're committing, that you won't pay a premium for that. So anyway, that's where we're able to finally kind of reach out and talk about this, because we'll have plenty enough bays and plenty enough technicians, service technicians, to take care of all that incremental extra business that we would earn. We believe that we will, find a lot of customers, a lot of guests that experience our service department first and then opt to do business with us on a newer used vehicle, whereas we're currently more of a traditional model that sells vehicles and then you come to our service department because you bought it there. We also offer free courtesy transportation, which you'll see in just a moment, where when you do come in for service, if you would prefer to go pick up your daughter at soccer or go sit at Starbucks or go to Kroger's and do some shopping, we give you a free 2021 Chevrolet to go get things handled and then come back later that day or the next morning to pick your cleaned up vehicle up. So with that, I'll close this close-up of the service department, and I'll open up one that's a little further back on Montgomery Road. And this is that same building. The corner is right here that we were just looking at, only we were kind of taking the picture from further in on our parking lot. Again, the strip center is kind of here. And oh, by the way, please keep in mind that there are a lot of quality tenants that we value and respect the current leases and the cash flow that comes from those leases. This is a major project, and we're not, looking to do this day one or even year one by any stretch. We're going to honor every one of those leases, and as time permits, finish out this part of the building and let them finish out their leases. We believe we're one heck of a lot better choice, I would say, certainly than an abandoned JCPenney building for quality traffic and quality people maybe visiting their stores. For those maybe thinking about the overall traffic of a project like this, I would say that we are less than the use that has been there since 1985. I work in the area, obviously, and when you think about a JCPenney or any one of those 16 strip centers with haircuts and cell phones and all the great things they do, a lot of busy, quick in, quick out to pick up a sweater, look at a pair of shoes, get a piece of, get some lipstick, all the different small things. Everything we do is kind of major and transactional value. X number of people come in to buy a car from us. They tend to be there a pretty long time and then hopefully leave with, a newer used car. If you drop your car off for service, that may tie up that bay for 2 hours to 8 hours. It's not a bunch of in and out traffic. So I believe, as nice as this is and as much money as we have to pump into it to give it this highly professional, well-landscaped look, I believe it's going to actually take a little congestion off of the intersections and the curb cuts and the roads, because our use is much less high volume in and out a lot. So anyway, that's that building. And by the way, I can blow that up just a little bit for all of you. You can see over here, there's a portico share at our Kings Auto Mall location. This is the signature Chevrolet main entrance that's at all 3,100 Chevrolet dealers coast to coast. And as you would see if you came back in the Kings Auto Mall, our current one is pressed up against the showroom at our main Chevrolet dealership. Here, because we've got enough land and enough parking out front, we were going to pop it out and create that covered portico share for complimentary valet parking for an elderly couple or somebody that maybe has a handicap of some sort, or if it's just snowing or raining and somebody doesn't want to get wet or covered in snow, we're going to offer complimentary valet. That is, to give you perspective, the same main doors that go into the main JCPenney building. That perfectly lines up with that. We're not changing that main entrance. This is the service welcome center where all the service cars would pull in. They would then dispatch into this big building, and all that busy work and lifts and whatnot would be concealed behind this very Class A office space looking facade. And then this, you can't really read it necessarily, but it says courtesy transportation. That's where we provide the free loaner cars for people that are in the service department. So I'm going to close that slide now, and I'm going to open up a little closer up look at the complimentary valet, the courtesy valet. We will have vehicles. If you go along 71, you may have seen the 59 Corvette that sits up in the archway facing I-71. We would have a similar effect here on both sides of the main entrance. Again, this is the exact same proximity or area of the JCPenney. Clearly, we're not going to use the current JCPenney doors, let's say, or building. That building was built for an interior experience. It was originally, quite frankly, built as a Walmart back in 1985. So they used the interior wall space to display shoes and sweaters and anything like that. A dealership is completely different. We're very transparent and open. In fact, those glass windows will actually slide open like an upscale restaurant, and it just allow fresh air to meander into our cafe and the Starbucks cafe, etc. But because the front of the building was never meant to support glazing like that or glass, we have to actually put, supports inside the building to support the roof, knock down the front cinder block part of the building, re-erect what's there that's more first class for an automobile dealership that General Motors would approve, and then take the supports out. So pretty significant difference. When you look through here, you might see this little blue balcony right here. For our team members that work in the office on the second floor, these windows too will collapse and slide open, and they'll be able to walk out onto that balcony and get some fresh air or eat a Panera salad or whatever. So I'm going to close this one, and I'm going to open up a little bit of a close-up, John and everybody, of the Service Welcome Center. So this is getting a little closer to the long balcony. That's a really key architectural detail to kind of give the people up on the second floor an opportunity to take in the beautiful fresh air and a nice day without having to walk downstairs and come out here. There'll be a lot of picnic tables and benches throughout the entire complex. All of our bollards, the bollards that protect the building, ours are about 10 times as expensive as a typical bollard you might see anywhere. We've got them all around the Kings Auto Mall. Because we're automotive, we wanted to put an automotive finish on them. So our body shop actually custom makes the 10-foot stainless steel, polished stainless steel, like a chrome bumper bollard, fills it with concrete, sets it in the concrete, asphalts up to it, and it's got a really, really classy high-end look as you're approaching. These are all Rytec service doors. So any door that a customer pulls up to the Rytech door, which is 11 times as expensive as a traditional garage door that you might see at a tire discounters or another dealership or even our homes, quite frankly, that has the motor inside that kind of slowly pulls it up and it makes a lot of noise. These Rytech doors have a laser sensor, so when someone pulls within 6 feet, it automatically coils up above the ceiling in about 1 second. So it's kind of like this pit stop feeling where we don't have to have a whole bunch of horns blowing out front, like open the door. It's just dead silent. And another unique thing you'll see if you come by King's Auto Mall to McCluskey Chevrolet, we do 0 pages. Most dealerships you go to, there'll be I'll call it noise pollution of service line 7. I said service line 7, sales line 12, somebody sales. We don't do pages. You'll never hear a page at McCluskey Chevrolet because everybody's got a Cisco phone that's wireless, and we waterfall the calls to everyone, and whoever's available to get it grabs it, and it always gets answered. So between no horns and no pages, it's a very tranquil Nordstrom's type feeling. If you've ever walked through Nordstrom's in Kenwood Town Center and you kind of just get this nice music all the time. Well, I talked to the general manager and said, how do you do that? And they said the key is to put Bose speakers in the ceiling tiles, and you have to put 8 times as many as Bose tells you need. Because if you use the minimum amount, you have to turn it up to, let's call it an 8 or a 9 on a 1 to 10, so it fills the entire space. If you have a lot more of them, i.e. no more than 20 feet apart in any direction, you can put it on a 3. And then as you walk through the Nordstroms, you just notice this even level of music that never gets higher and never gets lower. We've got 165 Bose speakers throughout McCluskey Chevrolet for that very reason, and we'll have them at this Symmes Township project, both in service and in sales. Here on the stone wall, that's meant to kind of divide in a very classy way the sales experience from the service experience. We'll have an outdoor Suara 85-inch TV. It's not meant to push commercials.
Blow that.
Yeah, I can blow this up a little bit. So here, I'm sorry, I should have done that before. If you notice the TV here, again, that's just for people to pull up to our free electric charging stations. They could pull up and just be looking for a car. They could be sitting out here having lunch at the table that's mounted to the building, or these picnic tables. By the way, same exact landscape forms picnic tables that at the King's Auto Mall we can seat over 130 people out in the parking lot. Now, it never happens, but you just don't know where somebody might want to sit down. So that very high-end furniture that you see in Central Park in New York City, it's meant to last 50 years. It's super, super, super heavy. In fact, they have to bring them in with a crane. And then the umbrellas are the PMS 300 kind of cobalt blue that matches the ACM, the aluminum composite material that Chevrolet requires on their dealerships. So overall look, very much a soft white with the Chevy blue and then silver and charcoal accents with stone accents. All new asphalt, all new landscaping. That's that look. And I think the last one I've got is just kind of pulling back from all of it and kind of looking from Union Cemetery. Exact, similar sign basically to what we've got approved by GM that's at the curb cut into our dealership in the King's Auto Mall. If anybody wants to see that firsthand, a lot more grass, a lot more trees, and a Kings Island type commitment to flowers along all 3 corridors. We see that as a huge positive to draw attention to our product that we are obviously displaying and selling, along those roadways. Lots of ample customer parking. We're going to have as big an American flag. I know TQL's got one of the biggest in the region. We're going to try to see if we can't one up the TQL flag that would be seen in all directions in Symmes Township. And here, as you go all the way back, we wanted a nice simple turn left to the complimentary valet for sales. or turn right and go to the service center, and we'll have all the proper signage in there, for that. I probably should blow this up a little bit too, just to let everybody see it a little better. That's that long 120-foot balcony out there. A lot of glass handrails inside, a lot of big TV monitors, a lot of fun, cool informational stuff. The steps are the exact same steps that are in all the Apple stores throughout the world. We buy them out of Manhattan. They're pricey, but it's just a really cool contemporary look. A lot of greenery inside. If you come to our dealership, you'll see they're called Breathe Living Walls, and they actually improve the customer experience and the mindset of our team members, because it's a wall of greenery that's got a patent on it that you water the very top, and it runs through these troughs that are built into the wall to water all the ferns that then we put our trophies and awards against. So if you walk in, that same Breathe Living Wall is going to be a major feature when you walk through the porte cochere and through the power doors into the new McCluskey Chevrolet. So I could go on for longer than you guys would want me to. So I'm just going to shut up now that I've got you a pretty good flavor, and certainly open it up to any questions, and appreciate, anybody that's got any questions at this point.
Hi, I'm Linda Bennett, and I live in Montgomery Trace, which is sort of behind where the JCPenney. And I wanted to know, are you going to have like large signage taller than what we're seeing on this schematic that you have? Like are you going to have signage that can be seen from 71? I guess is what I'm thinking.
No, nothing. We're too far off of 71 to make that reach. Linda, I would tell you that it'll be a timing issue, because again, obviously we've got tenants in the strip center that comes with JCPenney on the contiguous 16 acres, and they certainly deserve to continue to have their name out on Fields Erdel. But there is a monument sign, call it a pylon sign, that says Governor's Plaza and lists all the current tenants. That 35-plus-year-old sign would come down, and we would put up something that, quite frankly, would be shorter than that, not at all intended to be visible, from Montgomery Trace or from I-71, or quite frankly, it won't even be visible from the King's Autoball mouth, which is the light before that. You can't see it from there either. But it is meant to give passers-by, a contemporary, inviting feel that we're open for business in a way that is approved by Chevrolet. It'll have a look somewhat similar with the ACM and the Chevrolet bow tie, one of the most recognized brands in the world. I would like to think that when everybody saw the finished product, they would think it was significantly nicer and better and more appealing to the eye than the, I'll be nice and say, somewhat dated Governor's Plaza pylon sign at this point. We want the main focus to be the American flag. We will put lights on it. We will keep it obviously clean and nice. The challenge with big flags like that is they do tend to get tattered on the edges about every 3 to 4 months, and then you have to take them out of commission and put a new one up. But we do like that as something that's relatively tall, but who doesn't like the American flag, right? I mean, that's our feeling. So,
What about lighting? Is there going to be very bright lighting, or?
I would not describe it as very bright, Linda. You would describe it as brighter than possibly what JCPenney has got, but certainly in the exact same professional look that the Honda store just did along Fields Erdel Road. We actually spend additional money, and we like this, and I think you'll like it too, Linda. It is tied to the internet, and it is programmable from 1% to 100%. So go back 10, 20, 30 years, you either put sodium lights, which kind of had a yellow look, or you put metal halide lights that when you kicked them on, it took them about 5 or 10 minutes to come all the way on, and then they were at 100%, and that was the only choice. In today's world, a much sleeker, more contemporary LED head that can be programmed to be at about 2 to 3 to 5 to 10% for simply security reasons, right? I mean, for sure, anybody that lives or works in Symmes Township wants a more vibrant, safe, well-lit, kind of core, if you will. So we put them very low, and then if someone pulls on the lot, just like when you go down Kroger's and the lights kind of light up in the frozen food section, sort of, it's to save electricity, but then it just tones up enough and we can stop it at 20 or 25 or 30%. So it's all by comparison. We have to be respectful of the people that may be in on a, Thursday night at 7:30 in the winter, right? So we don't have lights on in the summer per se. It's only kind of in the winter hours, and we close at 9 Monday through Thursday, and we close at 6 on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But if somebody came in at 8:30 on a Thursday and they were going to buy a vehicle for their daughter to go away to college, the product we sell, the product the guest is considering spending their hard-earned money for, deserves to be under ample enough lighting that they could see, a nick or a scratch on a used vehicle, or see the metallic paint and see if they really like that color. But at the end of the day, I would tell you, lighting is something that is relative to what you're around. Example would be in a pitch black room and light a candle, and you can pretty much see everything in the room. That's 1 foot candle. There aren't dealerships lined up around us that were, quote, competing for brightness. It's a relatively low lit area. And so we don't want to waste any electricity, and we don't want it to be any brighter than it needs to be. But respectfully, it has to be bright enough, again, for our guests to make an informed decision.
I'd like to add something to that, if I may, just so everyone's aware, and Linda, the Symmes Township zoning code does regulate the maximum illumination levels around the property line.
Oh, that's great.
It requires lights to be downlit. I know the county's ordinance is 0.5 foot candles, which is really low around the property lines. I believe Symmes Township code is the same. So any report that we would write, we would certainly recommend that they meet code as far as the illuminations around the property line. Linda, do you have anything else you want to add before we go to other
The last thing I just want to make sure I understand, eventually you will occupy the whole center, including the little strip mall along the side of the JCPenney?
Yes, that is the current plan, correct. And so then again, that's where I go back to the idea that our kind of lower traffic, higher ticket items, would tend to kind of take a little pressure off the roads. But yes, ultimately, if you saw the one slide John put up, the real long but thin 80-foot thick strip center that wraps all the way around, picture that not there eventually as all leases mature. And then that square building that had the service right up and the courtesy transportation and the guaranteed lowest prices on the service items, that would be more parallel with the front of JCPenney and run towards Montgomery Road. And quite frankly, I feel kind of open up the core part there, because instead of feeling like you're stuck behind the warehouse that was the strip center, you're going to see across to the American flag. You're going to see across to Montgomery Road, sort of. I think it'll open it up, quite frankly, and with all the landscaping and walking sidewalks and things we're putting around it, I hope it's more of like I don't want to say it's going to be like an open park. It's not. It is an automobile dealership, but it's going to feel one heck of a lot more inviting to everybody that might be walking from point A to point B. And to John's point, that 0.5 foot candles at the property line, that is something. The reason municipalities have gotten more strict with that is the sophistication of these new LED lights that have like a zero cut line and just throw the light forward, whereas the old metal halides and sodiums like you see along the highway, I-75 and 71, they tend to be top down and go 360 degrees. So it was hard to properly illuminate the right area, which is the business, and leave the rest without that excessive glow or foot candle spillover, let's call it.
All right. Then one last thing is about the traffic on Union Cemetery and on the connector road that goes by Frisch's and the tire dealers, whatever. That gets pretty crowded. Is there any plan to widen that to more lanes? Like
Can
at
I comment
Christmas,
on that?
you can't even get there. You can't even get to Costco by going Union Cemetery. I mean, it's crazy crowded.
Let me comment on that, if I may. When we get zone changes like this, we route them to all the agencies in the county for review, one of them of which is the county engineer. Projects like this, the county engineer will weigh in on. The county engineer will determine if a traffic impact study would be necessary. I can't speak for the county engineers. I don't know if they would require one here or not. If they do, there may be some off-site improvements that would have to take place. But in a nutshell, the county engineer looks at traffic. They will be reviewed. These plans will be reviewed by the county engineer. And again, if there's any off-site improvements needed, they will require that.
All right, great.
Hey, John, if I could add something, Linda, that might help you. McGill Smith Puncheon and McCluskey Chevrolet, actually we are paying through them to have a full-blown third-party traffic flow analysis done as part of the overall project. But again, I would say the 16 businesses plus JCPenney, and just think about our own lives, the way we jump in and jump out to do any one of those. We generate less physical traffic parking in our lot and walking inside our building, because people don't buy cars nearly as often as they get haircuts or they go to JCPenney's or they do all the things that are in the 17 businesses that are in there. So I would suggest that in a very small way, we will take a little pressure off of that cross through of Governor's Way for you, Linda, in that regard. But they are doing the study.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I do see two other people on the line and Symmes Township as well. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to ask or discuss before we wrap this up? Now would be the time to unmute yourself and speak if you would like to. Okay. I don't hear anyone. So to conclude, I think this was a very productive meeting. I enjoyed the slides that were provided by the applicant. It gives a great visual of what they'd like to do. If you have any questions about the process, I had my phone number up on the screen previously. Feel free to call me. I believe it'll be on the May and June schedule of meeting dates. And if there's anything else from the township or the applicant before we sign off, now I'll be a time to
No, everything's good,
ahead.
John. I appreciate everybody's time.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Be safe.
You too.